today's webinar is going to be about the Getting Started Guide. It is one of those first things that we speak to you guys about whenever you guys join inFlow. The Getting Started Guide is basically us taking you through just like how to make sure that inflow is set up correctly for you, how to make sure that your company details are in, so that you're able to see everything properly, all of your formatting is correct, all of your customizations that we offer through inFlow is already in there. So yeah, we do a lot of that. I'm going to take this moment to actually share with you some of the resources that we use a lot here at inFlow to just so that's something that's available for you guys to look at, even if you're not, for whatever reason, able to contact your CSM or support. So I just wanted you guys to take a look at our support page. It's basically a page where you can access Phil basically, but not specifically Phil, but so the support team, you can join us on live chats during business hours or email us if you have any questions. And that takes us to the getting started or the get started videos. Um, our YouTube actually has a lot of information. So if you go to Info Inventory on YouTube and if you guys look at our playlists, we have a lot of amazing information along with past webinars, along with the Ask the Inflow Experts videos, along with the Get Started videos, basically. So getting started with Inflow, basically it has everything and anything that you guys might need to use inflow correctly. To be honest, we pride ourselves on the way that we have our learning center or the knowledge base and the YouTube videos, because we want you guys to be able to solve the issues by yourself as much as possible. And that is to say, please feel free to reach out to us. But yeah, we again pride on, we spend, as you guys can see with the designs and everything, we pride on ourselves on having a pretty detailed learning center and YouTube channel. But I'm gonna take us through just the getting started guide and take you guys through the topics that we're gonna be talking about today. Again, since Laya was going to be the one presenting, please don't mind if I fumble a little bit here and there
Don't
today.
worry, you're doing great, Pooja. Don't worry,
Thank
we're
you.
all friends here. We can get
Exactly.
through it. Hopefully, Laya will be able to join us.
Oh,
Oh,
and
as
she's
I speak of
here.
the devil, she popped in. Let's see if maybe it's working now. But you're doing great no matter what.
Thank you. Anyways, so today we are going to go through introductions, the getting started guide that I was just showing you, settings and options on like what settings and options you guys can refer to in case you want to again use the customizations that we offer. We're also going to take you through the asking for help flowchart. It's not a flowchart, but just a guideline to basically help you look for answers or help you reach to the best people for the questions that you have. And then um, yeah, as you guys might know, we've started a new section called the quiz section where we're basically going to be testing you. So please be very attentive during the webinar because we are going to be quizzing you. And if you want to win that $100 gift card, you better pay attention. So going to take you guys through the demo. I am going to be logging in very quickly. So for you guys to log in, you basically can go through the inflow page, which is www.inflowinventory.com, or when you hit login. So whenever you guys log in or you start using inflow for the first time, it's basically going to take you through something which is called the sample database. Now, what the sample database is that it lets you play around inflow without adding your information in. So we have a bunch of products already in there. We also have a bunch of serialized products if you guys do use serializations in your products. But yeah, we have those. We have sales orders. Just again, just so that in case you don't want to use your database, you just want to try using inflow, you can do that using the sample database. If you guys have been here for some time, uh, a really quick sneak peek into the new sales orders design. So we did change a little bit about how the sales orders look and a little bit about the functionality of the sales orders. So yeah, there's that. Whenever after your trial period you are ready to switch to your own company, you can do that. If you see the little red box at the very bottom of the page, you can switch to your own company right there. So as soon as you click on switch to your company, it says ready to move on, and then it's basically going to give you a blank slate, a blank database to be able to put all of your personal information into inFlow. So switch to your company. This will take basically into a maintain us into a maintenance mode, as you can see. And feel free to log out during that time. It does take a couple of minutes, but it's not going to be that bad. While we're doing that, actually, I want to take you guys through the getting started guide. So how do you reach the getting started guide, right? So if you go to support, if on our inflow page, if you go to support, go to the learning center, the very first thing that you will see is the getting started guide. And again, not to emphasize less, actually, just to emphasize as much as needed, but like this is something that you guys need to start on to make sure that everything is properly set up into inflow. The getting started guide is might look a little deceivingly small, but it's not, trust me, because it will again take you through everything. So yeah, these are the steps to doing that. But before I go into the steps, Phil, is everything okay? Do you want me to answer any questions that we had meanwhile?
So far, you're doing wonderful.
Perfect.
Everything's looking great, and yeah,
Thank
awesome.
you. So I'm going to take you guys through the getting started guide actually really quickly. So the step one is setting up the basics. If you, I'm actually going to take you guys through each and every one of these steps, but I just need you to know that even if you don't watch this webinar, but follow the steps that have been mentioned here, you're going to be you're going to be very okay with doing everything. So I'm going to again very quickly log into Laya's account. I actually was the one who set it up for her, so it's fine. Let's see if that did take us in. Okay, amazing. So this is what you see the moment you switch to your own database. It says switch complete, and then you can select your currency. I'm going to be using Canadian dollar because that's where I'm at. And then you can go ahead and hit continue. Now, how do you want to start? This is a very interesting and important question. You are able to import data. You are able to use Shopify. You are able to use WooCommerce. You can do this after even after you hit that you want to import through an empty database. You can still import through other places as well, but just for the sake of this video, I'm just going to put it in as an empty database just so that I can show you around everything else. So I'm going to hit continue. So as you can see, everything is empty. There's nothing here. We have some very cool design. Shout out to our UX design team for doing these very cool animations. So yeah, we have the sample database, and then I'm gonna now take you guys step by step through the getting started guide. So setting up the basics, this takes around 5 minutes, and each step will have a very quick video on what you can do or how you can do certain things. Company information and logo is the first thing that we recommend. And now again, all of these things or all of these steps are recommendations. We would highly recommend you guys to do this. But yeah, just recommendations. I very quickly am looking through Jennifer's question. When will the vendor and customer updates be live and no longer in beta? So I'm guessing you're talking about the purchase orders and sales orders beta that we have. So we're planning on going live end of this year. I want to say December or November, December. I don't quote me on the exact month, but that is when we're going to take everybody out of the beta version. Right now, we're still working on sales orders, and then we've already launched the purchase orders, but we're basically making sure that there are no bugs, making sure that everything is flowing smoothly. So yeah, eventually by the end of this year, you will be out of the beta phase, and this will be like your live actual way of doing things. So yeah, company information and logo. Sorry, Phil, anything that you want to add?
No, no, that's great. I was
Okay.
just going to say also, the purchase order one has been live for a few months, kind of thing. So I think everybody's on that now. But the sales order we actually just started rolling out, I think last week or something very recently. So if there is anybody in here or anything that wants to check out the newer sales order beta, you can actually reach out to us at support@inflowinventory.com. Otherwise, we will be adding more and more people to the beta over the next couple of weeks, kind of thing too. And yeah, as Pooja said, it's just we're kind of trying to make sure that we get all the feedback and everything before we finalize it. Because right now you do still have like a period of time where you can kind of opt out in case something happens, say with like your workflow or something like that. And hopefully we can get everything ironed out before it's all finalized. So yeah. So again, if you do want to get into it or anything like that, hit us at support@inflowinventory.com and we can get that added to your account.
Yeah, thank you so much, Phil, for mentioning that little tidbit. Chrissy, your question about us being able to import a copy from Excel, stay tuned. We are going to be talking about it, but to very quickly answer your question, we are not able to import or export through Excel files, but very close, but we're able to import through CSV files. So your file needs to be converted if you're using Excel into a CSV file. We do have a very in-depth webinar about how to import database from like through using a CSV file. So I'm pretty sure Phil will be sharing that pretty quick soon as well. But yeah, I'm gonna actually take us through the getting started basics, company information and logo. The first step that we would recommend you guys doing, again, because our learning center is set up so that you can go here, click on this, and it is going to take you through that same exact page that you need to add your company details. So again, if you are on the getting started guide, you click on this link, it will take you through the different options that we have to personalize, customize your inflow data. You are able to put in your the company logo if you have any. Just for the version sake of this, I'm just gonna put in a QR code that I had lying around. Just imagine that this is your company's logo. Put in your company's name, PPL for Phil, Pooja, and Laya. Address PPL Limited. Address city, let's say Toronto, and just like anything on everything that you guys want to mention in here as well. So I'm gonna click and put in your email addresses, inflow.com, and any miscellaneous information here as well. Just keep in mind that whatever you put in here in the addresses and everything is something that is going to show up in your invoices, in your vendor, in your purchase orders, just all of the documents that you have in Inflow, it is going to show up there. So yeah, just make sure that everything is correct. Now that was pretty, quick, easy way to set up your company details. Um, so again, this is going to take you on how to do everything. Again, that's going to be talking about all of those things. I'm going to take us through the next step of the costing methods. Now, costing methods is basically something that you guys have to decide before you guys put in your information, put in your purchase orders, sales orders, products, product costs. Very important to decide the costing methods. Talk to your accountants, talk to whoever whoever is deciding what the costing method is going to be, because you can change it later on, but it is going to be a hassle. And so basically deciding on what costing method to use is you between your options of moving average, first in, first out, last in, first out, and manual costing. We do recommend, we also have, what do you call it, an article on that as well. But again, this is going to determine the way that your costs are displayed in inflow. With first in, first out, you can only update costs of products only and only if you import purchase orders. We are talking this about much more in detail in our other webinars as well. But just keep in mind, you will not be able to update costs through an import if you are using first in, first out, or last in, first out. You will only be able to do that if you're importing your purchase orders. But for moving average, you will be able to import your costs in inflow as well. So costing methods, again, if you go to the same page, which is the options, it is, again, if you see, everything is right here, laid out very nicely for you guys. Um, If you hit costing method right here, you should be able to see the different costing methods that you have. Moving average again, manual, first in, first out, last in, first out. For our current example, we're going to be using moving average. So I'm just going to leave it to that. Costing method again, moving average. And then let's see what else do we have. How to choose a costing method, all of this again, all of this pretty basic, just telling you on how you can set up your costing methods. The third thing that you have to do to set up properly is to make sure that you're setting up your locations. Now, this is for customers or users that are using um, the second plan going forward, which are like um entrepreneurs don't have this option, but if you do, if you are an entrepreneur user and if you do want unlimited locations, feel free to reach out to your CSM. We will be able to set that for you. But yeah, make sure that you're using your locations properly. Now, what are locations? So let's say if you have warehouses, or if you have stuff going around in different places that you want to put in inflow, you can do that as well. If you want to manage multiple warehouses with different locations, you can do that in inflow. Let's say you have one warehouse in Toronto, the other one that's, let's say, providing materials to your US customers. So you have one in USA, you can put all of that in here as well. Again, if you look at locations and if you hit inventory settings right there, voila, it will take you to how to set up your locations right here. In a minute, actually not in a minute, in some time, I'm going to show you guys on how to use the settings right here. But yeah, so you can go to locations, and this is how you can change your locations. I am actually going to go a little bit faster now because we are running out of time, but or we might be pretty soon. But yeah, locations. Default location, I'm gonna, let's say we're putting our Toronto as a default location. You can add in whatever address you want to add in right here. And then if you have more locations that you want to add, you can just add location through right here. So let's say I'm going to put in my New York location. We can do that as well. So yeah, this is how you can set up multiple locations in inFlow. Let's see, what do we have next? And then invite your team to inFlow. So if you have multiple people who you want to add to your inFlow account, you can also do that as well. So again, click on there. It is going to take you to the exact page where you can add your members. And there you go. Again, because this was Laya that was supposed to be here, we have her, and then I was going to invite myself. So put in the email address, getting start at infoinventory.com and Pooja. This is another thing. So if you have multiple members and if you want some of them to be admins versus some of them not to be admins, you can copy member settings from right here. So I'm just going to leave myself as an admin right here. So I would not recommend having everybody as an admin. What I would recommend is if other people have
Suvansh.
different access rights to you, you can change that in here as well. So as soon as I hit that next button, it is going to take us through what access you want to give that person. Again, we have a full-fledged article on this as well. But if you want them to be an administrator, you can. It's not necessary. And then if let's say if this customer is sorry, if this user is a sales only user, you can give them full access to sales, but then you can give them no access to purchasing, for example. So this is how you can change the way that access rights are set for your team members. If you, let's say, don't want them to have access to stock count, if you want them to have only view only access, and even for things like actually picking sales orders and stuff, you can give them access to mobile picking only. So let's say you have a warehouse user who's in your warehouse and who is the one who like picking things to ship to your customer, and you only want them to have access to the info mobile application. you can choose view and pick mobile application, or whatever setting you want to give them. And then you can send invite. The invitation has been sent to myself, and yeah, that's and then I'll basically get an email. I don't know if you guys can see. I don't want you guys to see anything else. um I have been invited into info, and this is what that's going to look like, so I can accept invite and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how you invite a user. Phil, am I going to do fast? Am I going to slow? Questions?
You're doing great. I think everything's been really clear. We do have a couple questions. I was just starting to answer for Basarath. He had asked if I have some old inventory and I received it with new different costs, can it do the average? Which yes, I was trying to explain that. Yes, if you're using the moving average, basically, I did post an article that shows how inFlow calculates your costs based on like the prices that you have, if you have like shipping and taxes, different things like that. But essentially, inFlow will keep track of how much stock you have, what prices you paid for that stock, and then when you add in like another purchase order or something like that, it's going to add that inventory, add that extra cost, and then give you that average value in there. So that will help. Teresa had then also asked or said we use numerous vendors with different costs. I mean that I think it's slightly different. We do have an option. I don't know if you're able to show. I know you don't have any
Yeah,
vendors or anything yet
it's
or
okay.
products, but under the product settings themselves, as she's just making a product here,
Yeah,
you can go to product vendors, and from in this
exactly.
tab here, you can actually set up each different vendor, and you can have like a different price set for them. So that way, when you're making a purchase order for this product with that specific vendor, it will then automatically pull that price up for you. So you don't have to like remember each one or anything like that. So yeah, here like she's showing she's got Loblaws and Walmart both have a different price, and that way, so the PO, as long as it's with one of those vendors, then it'll automatically pull that price.
Exactly. No, absolutely. So, um, again, I don't want to go on a tangent here because we do have a lot to show, but Phil is absolutely right. You can absolutely share all of that as well. Any other questions, Phil?
No, I think the only other thing was people were saying that they were asking if there's like a good image size for their logo because on some of their emails it's showing up really large. I believe this might be actually like an Outlook issue. Both customers said that they are using Outlook and it looks large. I asked if they can send us a screenshot and stuff, and we'll definitely take a look into it. I mean, you definitely can put in a smaller size logo as well too, which hopefully will help with that. I know in Gmail and stuff like that, they do usually show up nicely, and they are supposed to resize, but maybe there's something else we can do for Outlook as well. So yeah, send in at support@inflowinventory.com, and we can definitely take a look into that.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Phil. In our support team is very good at troubleshooting. So again, we pride ourselves on having an amazing team. Oh, I love the team. Anyways, not to go on a tangent. I'm actually going to not take you guys through step two because I personally want that to be one of the last steps that you guys do, which is adding inventory. So I'm going to put a pin on that for just a minute, and then I'm going to take you guys actually to the next section, which is barcodes and SKUs. Now, if you were importing your products and stuff through your CSV, you will be able to import your barcodes through and your SKUs through that import file. But if you don't have your barcodes and SKUs, you will be able to and if you want inflow to generate them for you, you will be able to ask inflow to basically generate them automatically for you. So let's say you do import or you do create a product with no barcodes or SKUs. If you do these next steps, which I'm going to show you in just a second, you will be able to ask inflow to make them for you. Now, those steps, again, generate barcodes. If you click that little thingy right there, it is going to take you exactly where you need to be able to update that setting. And then you have your inventory everywhere, you just have everything. And then this is where you can set up your SKUs. And then this is where you can, I'll show you barcodes in just 1 second. But yeah, if you want Inflow to automatically auto generate them for you, you can turn that on. You can also enter prefixes. So let's just say PPL, and you want the next number to be, for whatever reason, 9. if you see, inFlow is automatically going to assign the next numbers to the rest of the products. You can also add a suffix if you need, and then you hit generate. And I'll show you what's that going to look like in just 1 second. And then internal barcodes. You can also do the same thing for barcodes as well. Auto generate internal barcodes for current and future products. And then you can hit generate, and it is going to basically assign the barcodes and SKUs to all of the products that have that section empty. If you have some products that have SKUs and barcodes already, uh, mentioned in the product page, it's not going to override that. It's only going to assign it to the products that are blank, that have blank SKU and blank barcode sections. So if you can see, when I created my test product, I did not put a SKU or barcode, but because I turned on the auto generate and these fields were blank, it was able to automatically update it for you. So yeah, that's how you can do that. Generate barcodes and generate SKUs. Again, you are able to do this in an import as well. If you already have a list of your barcodes and SKUs, this is only if you want new ones. Braden, very quickly asking, can you make different SKU formats for different categories of product, like a different prefix? Not at the moment. You're not able to do that, but we can request, or we can talk to the product team if you're like basically put in your product feedback and see if that is something that can be done. Phil, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that's something that we can do.
No, you're exactly right. Yeah, unfortunately, you can only set up like the prefix and everything like
Mhm.
that once for your SKUs, not by like category or anything. But we'll definitely take that back as like a feature request and pass it on to the team.
Thank you. Actually, again, just very slight tangent, but we are coming up with something called variants. You might be able to use variants to do that. Again, not sure. We're gonna have to take a look at your actual workflow and everything. But yeah, just something to put out there. Then step 4. So again, step 3, just to take you through the step 3, which is basically making your barcodes and SKUs in inFlow. Step 4 was product costs and starting inventory levels. Now, these things mostly, again, are going to be included in the import of the product. Now, if you want to set them up in inFlow, you can still do that. Importing your product costs into inFlow, again, this is also going to be very similar to setting up your costing methods. How are you doing it? If you're doing them importing, if you're going to be importing them through your purchase orders, all of that is going to be connected to that. So right now, because I have mine as moving average, I if you don't want to do it in an import, you can come in here. You can go in here and you can put in an average cost. The last average cost that you knew for the product, you can enter it right here. So let's say I'm going to do $4.50. This is going to be your starting point for your cost. Any other purchase orders you put into inFlow going forward is going to start adjusting the cost for you. So let's say your current cost for this product is 450. If you buy a next batch of product for $6, it is going to average the $5. Actually, that I can do that math better than doing it for $6. So if this is a 450 and you buy another for 5, it's going to average it out, depending again on the actual stock, as let's say $4.75, $4.60. Just again, averaging it out for you, depending on your future purchase orders. Um, let's say you want to do this in an import. Let's say you created this test product, right? Let's say you still want to update it through an import. You can still update it in an import. Again, there's a completely different webinar. Feel free to take a look at our importing webinar. We talk very much in detail for an hour and a half on how to do that. So all the best. Starting inventory levels. Now again, this is something that we recommend you guys doing through an import, which is called the stock levels import. So your first import would be the product details import, where you would basically import the name of the product, everything minus the blue box. So you put in everything, the pricing, the test, the not the reorder settings, but like just like yeah, all of these things that you see in here. Your second import is going to be your quantity on hand, which is basically you telling inFlow that this is our starting quantity. A lot of our customers, as soon as they start using inFlow, they do a fresh stock count just to make sure that whatever they're putting in inflow is the actual value of what they have in their warehouse. So let's say I did like a stock count, and I wanted to update it in here. You can literally click there. You can update it right there. Let's say you have more than one location. If you hit more locations right here, you hit New York, you will be able to then put in the New York stock count for that product in here as well. So again, saving that. And yeah, now if you guys see, it added the New York and the Toronto for me. I know you guys might be thinking, what if I don't want to see it for both? And what if I want to see it only for one location? You will be able to see it here. So under quantity breakdown, if you click on your specific location, it is going to give you that location that that you want to look at the stock count for. So if I choose Toronto, it's going to do it for Toronto. If I choose New York, it's going to do it for New York. So yeah, it's that quantity breakdown right there. Um, yeah, that is pretty much it for how to update everything in inflow without doing it through an actual import. I'm now going to just make sure that I'm covering everything again. If you want to look at any of these, we have webinars. We also have a lot of, so if you go to let's see, if you go to our learning center. So in your accounts, on every page, you'll have a question mark right there. You can click on the question mark. You will be taken to our learning center. And here you'll get again features guidance like how to do imports. We have everything here in order to help you to how to import data into inflow properly. It's like very detailed articles, very detailed webinars, as I said, an hour and a half long. So yeah, now, so this was actually the step two that I skipped. It's going to basically be the same thing on how to add your inventory, and then again how to add your product cost, starting inventory levels, etc. in inflow. Phil,
Yep.
I'm going to take a pause.
Good.
Okay.
You're doing great. You're talking a lot, which is amazing. Yeah, I can answer a couple of quick questions that we had in the chat while you take a sip of water or something. But yeah, so we had a couple of questions asking. Like if Justin had asked if he made a purchase order with the new price of an item, should they click the save back button, or will that change the moving average cost of it? So no, that will not change the moving average cost. That actually goes back to what we were showing before with the product vendor prices. So that will update that price there on the product itself. So that way, if you make a future purchase order with that company again, or with that vendor again, sorry, then you will get that new price. So it will not affect your cost in any way. So that's again, if you're expecting to pay that price now, that's great. And then Braden, I'm not sure. We may need a little more information. He had said if I had products that cost a certain amount for my pre-order in 2024, then I input the cost of the product from this year with the product price increase, it would average out the two. So with that, I'm just not sure, I guess, if you're actually like receiving the product in 2024, with like purchase orders and costs and things like that. Like none of the costs are updated on the product itself until you've actually received the product. So in this case, like again, with the word pre-order in there, I'm not sure if you're actually getting those. So if you change the price, say before you actually receive it, then you'll just have that new cost coming in. Whereas if you did say receive some in 2024 and then receive some new ones in 2025 that cost more, then yes, you would have an average between the two prices. And then I,
Just
yep,
sorry, really quickly, just to add a little bit to that, the only way that you can average the two costs out if those two costs are related to two different purchase orders. So if you update the price in one purchase order for, let's say, your 2024 pre-order or your 2024 order for $5, and then you do a 2025 order or pre-order for $6, then it is going to average out the cost. If it's the same PO, if it's coming from the same source of information, then no. Uh, but yeah, yes, that was, thank you, Phil.
Yep, no, that's great. Yeah, Braden, there you go, says thank you. That answered it. And then I guess just one quick last one we had from Jennifer was if we're filling out an order from different location, inFlow makes us split that into two or invoices. Which no, you can split them out into two different ones, but on the sales order itself, you should actually have a like a picking tab where you can pick which location you're picking each product from. I know Pooja's pulling one up here that we can kind of show.
So
Um,
let's say sorry, 15 were ordered. And one thing to keep in mind is that if it is going from only one location, you change it right here under fulfill from. So this fulfill from location is basically your default location that it's going to assume to take the products out of. But if you don't want that to happen, and again, if you guys have access to something which is the clock, which is basically going to tell you that you do have products either coming in from a different purchase order or in a different location, etc. But to answer that specific question, if you want to very again you guys have it right here, test product, and it's basically split it into 10 and 5 because 10 is something that the Toronto location had. It split it by itself, but if you don't want this to happen, if you want this to actually don't a partial pick, actually hold on, I no, this is not for that. Wait a second.
this is the new layout and everything, so things are a little bit different.
Yeah. Um, but let's say I want to pick this one, okay? I want to edit location. Okay, this is what I want to do. I want to edit location. I can edit the location and I can select New York if New York is where I want to pick these products up from. And then I can save that. And then if I wanted to pick the five up from my Toronto location, I can again edit location and then save it. Wait, did I do that correctly?
You did. It's just not
Oh,
showing because that is the location on the order itself.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. So, yeah, then you save it, and then you can, again, this is how basically you can pick from two different locations in from the same sales order without having to split it. Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you. I'm gonna go back to the getting started guide really quickly, and I'm lost in the million tabs that I have. Phil is laughing currently because Phil currently has, I can guarantee, Phil, under over 25 tabs.
Oh, definitely over 25 is
Oh,
a rookie number. Rookie
shoot.
number.
I would lose my mind. Okay, guys, put it in the chat of how many tabs you guys have opened on whatever browser you're using. If you're like me or if you're like Phil, I need two max or I'm losing it. And
Hey,
then
I can't multitask with only two. I need to be able to switch between a million at all times.
you are a superstar for a reason. Okay, perfect. Taking you guys to the fifth step and the last step, which is pricing schemes and taxes. Again, you can pre-set up pricing schemes in inFlow, and this is something just to keep in mind a little bit while you are setting everything up. So, again, actually taking you there through the link that we have. Pricing scheme. So what is a pricing scheme? It's basically if you charge a different cluster of customers different pricing. If you have a retail set of customers, you set up retail pricing. If you have a wholesale set of customers, you can set up wholesale pricing. If you want to do multiple pricing schemes for different clusters of customers, you can do that. So let's say I'm going to do retail here, for example. Okay, retail, and then if it's inclusive of tax, you can do that. If you want, if your retail is only US based or whatever, you can select that here as well under your currency. If you have wholesale set of customers, again you can do this. Again, I have forgotten to mention the little stars that we have seen all along the demo, but the stars are basically defaults of whatever default vendor. So every time you buy a particular product, you get that default vendor. Every time you create a sales order, it takes you to the default. It assumes its assumptions that we have that inFlow will choose that until and unless mentioned otherwise. You have default pricing schemes, you have default vendors, what else? You have defaults for locations. So if you guys remember, it took the default location as Toronto, which is because our default location, and if this saves, I can show you guys. Our default location, the little star is next to Toronto, which is why it assumed it was going to be Toronto. If you want to change it, you can set something else as the default as well. And then, okay, yeah. So again, just pricing scheme, you can set your different pricing schemes here as well. If for whatever reason you have to delete something, if you can X out of there, it will show up under show deactivated. So everything that you've deactivated, it can show up again, and you can reactivate it by simply clicking on the little plus sign. I'm gonna hit save. I'm gonna very quickly talk about the taxing schemes. Now, after I show you this, I'm gonna quickly talk to you about something else as well. Some products are taxed differently than others. I'm not gonna go into too much details, but if again, some products are taxed differently, different state, different GST taxes. You do that. But yeah, you can go in here if you have a taxing scheme created. You can go in here and change, your percentage. Let's say Ontario tax. You can do that. And then if you want to put a tax name to it, you can do that as well. And let's say the Ontario tax is 13%, I can do that. If you want to add, let's say, federal tax on top of your state or province tax, you can do that as well. So it's basically um, going to add on top of the basic tax that you've created. Um, but that's only if you choose actually compound secondary tax and primary. It's, again, too much information to share in one video. So let's say my federal tax is 5%, right? Save that as well. Again, this is how you can save your different pricing scheme. If you have more than one for different states, different provinces, different whatever countries, you can do that in here as well. Now, for pricing scheme actually, so let's say I go to a product. Okay, this is my product, right? If you guys remember, we did retail and wholesale. Now if you guys are like, how do I bulk update all of the different pricing schemes using a CSV import? What we recommend is create the pricing scheme first in inFlow, then export the actual product details. So again, because the inFlow template, until and unless you specify, it's not going to know that you are using wholesale and retail, right? So you have to first create them in inFlow first. Um, put and I can, if I can only find it right here. Okay, yeah, wholesale. So this is my wholesale, and this is my, again, the same with like default. But I talked about that in just 1 second, but your default unit price for this example is the retail. So if the retail is $5 and if the wholesale is $4, sorry, the wholesale is $4, you can do that in inFlow as well. I'm basically selling this on a loss, but it's fine. We're just gonna ignore that for now. So again, if you have a list of products, create the pricing scheme first, export, change, import. And then it is very similar for other things like custom information. So let's say you have custom information. Oh, that's customs information. Sorry. You have custom fields that you want to add. Let's say you want to add the type of the product, or you want to add the color of the product, or any custom field you want to add in inFlow. You first create the custom field in inFlow first, then export, change in the export, then import it back into inFlow. So yeah, just a quick tip of if you want to add your customizations in inFlow, that's how you would do a bulk update. Phil, I think I am done with the getting started guide. So we've talked about taxes, we've talked about everything. Congratulations on finishing the getting started guide. You guys all get A plus. We're gonna take a pause really quickly if there are any questions.
Sure. Yeah. We got a few of them in here.
Mhm.
Teresa had asked, can we set up customers with tax? Most of our customers are tax exempt. So I don't know if you wanted to show that you can set a default tax per customer. So that way, when you do make like a sales order on there, they can automatically pull that up for them.
Sorry, yes. Sorry, yes. I was going to something else.
Yep.
Uh,
Okay. So yeah, if you
uh,
just go to a customer profile.
yeah. Let me create a new customer really quickly. Just save this for now. Oh yeah, I think I am. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, you can use test customer, yeah.
Mhm.
And basically, yeah, just right in here under the purchasing info, they've got both a spot for pricing and currency or a taxing scheme that you can set down below, I believe.
Mhm. So,
Where
mhm.
yeah, that way. So if you had like a no tax thing or something like that, you can set that on them, so it'll automatically do that on the orders. Braden had asked if the pricing schemes will link with WooCommerce. Currently, his company is having trouble for a price for a retail customer and different price for a wholesale customer on the same product. I'm not off the top of my head. I'm not positive on how the pricing schemes match up with the integration, so I would have to double check into that. Unless you have any knowledge on that off the top of your head.
Not
Um,
really.
Okay, so yeah, so Brady, what would be best if you can send us an email at support@inflowinventory.com. Just ask that question again. We can definitely take a look. I know it does match and push some of the pricing schemes. I don't know if it's limited to one or two. I might be confusing Shopify and WooCommerce in my head right now, kind of thing. So, so yeah, if you just reach out with that, we can definitely look into that. Bassarath had also then asked if inFlow can show in showroom both the case and the unit price, which I don't believe so. I think it only shows your sales unit of measure price. I think it will show both like the units of measure that you can see, but I don't believe it'll show both prices. But that is something else we can also look into. Um, I know they
Uh,
recently added in like the compare at price and stuff too,
if
but
that's
that,
helpful, yeah.
yeah. And then Lorenzo had asked, is there a way to edit the tax during an order? There are times the tax varies and I have to go back to the tax window and update the number to match the vendor, then go back and reset it to normal. So yeah, that I had responded just saying that if you set up, there's an option for special tax rates, I guess, in the taxing schemes. Yeah, some products are taxed
Oh
differently,
yeah, yeah,
that option
exactly.
in there.
Hmm.
This actually, if you turn this little option on, so in your taxing settings, now if you go back into an order,
Yeah, I'm
you'll
looking
see
on that.
a new column actually on the orders themselves. This should work with like purchase orders as well. But yeah, basically now that column taxes before wasn't there. So you can have special tax rates per taxing scheme that then per product you can actually switch. So if you did need to do that. Otherwise, if you have set up multiple taxes, you can change the taxing scheme on the order. I think you just click on it. It's underneath paid up at the top, like where it says ON
Yeah, yeah,
tax.
yeah, 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 yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, if she had multiple taxing schemes, you'd be able to just pick it there. So again, I know you're saying you had to modify the price or the percentage sometimes, so maybe just create a few different ones, and that way you can just pick it based on the vendor. And just like customers, actually, we had shown vendors you can also set like a default tax or pricing scheme and those kinds of things for as well too. So that way
Yeah,
you don't have to manually set it each time.
exactly. Just because you're talking about that, I'm just gonna very quickly show that. But taxing scheme, even right here, if you have a different pricing taxing scheme or a different payment, any of these, you can set them up in the actual vendor slash customer, and it will uh, in that sales order or purchase order, it will by default take that information in. It's never locked. You can still change it in the actual sales order or purchase order, depending on the situation. But yeah, we would highly recommend doing it here.
Yeah. And then I think the last one was that Christy had asked is if there's a webinar on our support site that goes into more detail about the pricing schemes, which I don't think we've had a webinar on pricing schemes itself. I can see if I know we do have different articles on them.
Hmm.
Excuse me. So that might be kind of the best route I think
Hmm.
that we have.
Let's see. Actually, let's see. We could do a different one on pricing scheme, but maybe this might be a little bit of help. How to guide ultimate guide for importing into inflow. But yeah, that's a good suggestion. If we don't, we can absolutely do a different webinar on that. 100%.
Sure.
Um, Perfect. I actually am going to take you guys very quickly through the settings. Again, I'm not going to go into very details, like extreme details, because this is the last thing that we have to do before we have to get through the quiz. But again, you can go through the settings page by clicking on your name on the top right, personal settings, and this is how you can. This is your personal settings. So each individual person's personal settings will be different. Like Phil's will be different, even if we're on the same account. Phil's will be different. Mine will be different depending on how I set mine up. Let's say I am responsible for the Toronto location, but Phil is responsible for the New York location. I can come into my personal default settings and set my location into Toronto, and everything I then do is going to go into Toronto. But if Phil does something in his, it will by default. Let's say he creates a sales order for his location, it will by default take him into the New York location to pull stuff out of the New York location. So that's a very cool feature that we have. Again, name, update, password, very basic things, very, self-explanatory. This is something else as well. If you guys want to get low stock notifications, now this is only depending on if you have set reorder settings up in inFlow. Again, whole different webinar. But if you have reorder settings set up in inFlow, and if you want to be notified if you're running out of stock of something, you can select the days that you want to be notified on, and then you will get notified, or you get emails on that. And let's say order assignments. So we do have something called order assignment. So if I assign this order to somebody, sorry, here, if I assign this order to myself and I hit assign, I will get an email that I have been assigned the task. So that's just that. I have lost my place and everything. Okay. So that was personal settings. Again, global settings, something we just talked about, how to do costing methods, how to set your currency, exchange rates, whole different thing. But if you are working in one currency and if you have people in different countries or whatever, you can add either a custom exchange rate very quickly, and then you can set it all to automatic. So basically, I think we update it twice a day so that every time there is a change in the currency, it will change your sales order currency to that exchange rate for that day. Whole different conversation again. Close transactions are going to talk about it. Custom fields, like that's what I was showing you earlier. If you want to add customized information in any of these sections of info, you can do that in here or on the actual page as well. So let's say the test product, this is my custom field for test product. I can have that for sales orders, purchase orders, again, all different kinds of things. Transaction numbers, I'm not going to again to go into much details, but if you want your sales orders or any of those numbers to start from a certain number, let's say 500, you can do that. Rename fields, if you want to use, let's say, a lot of our customers change the way like sales orders into job number. You can do that in here as well. So every time you see every time the word sales order is basically being switched to the word renamed to the word job order. Then inventory settings, again, location, something that we talked about, product categories, again, if you have different categories of products, fruits, vegetables, dairy. I love grocery stores for some reason. Again, you can have different products, product categories there. Adjustment reasons, I'm not going to go into much into that. Manufacturing options, again, if only you have manufacturing as your product or as your info product. Picking option, this is a little important. This is basically if you are picking up a sales order, how do you want the products to be picked up, in what order? Alphabetical, location with the highest quantity. We prefer if you do alphabetical, you can still change it later on. But again, just yeah, depending on what you have your picking option selected as, it's going to do that. Units of measure. Now, this is very important. So let's say you are buying and selling in different units of measures. Let's say you're buying in boxes, selling as eaches. We're buying a whole case of Coca-Cola, but you're selling it as individual items. That's your units of measurement, and that's something you can set up in the product as well, but very important to set up. Stock keeping units, SKUs, we talked about, labels, we talked about. Just very quickly going to do a rapid fire. Document/email designer, you can customize the way that your invoices and your emails look to your customers and vendors. You can customize the way that looks there. just integrations. If you want to set up your QuickBooks, Amazon, Shopify, we have I think upwards or close to 200 integrations. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, yeah. You can integrate. Then we have Showroom, which is basically your online e-commerce platform, which is built within inFlow, where you can display your products to your different sets of customers. Um, Actually, the next webinar is going to be on Showroom, so stay tuned for that. Stockroom is a new feature. We're not going to talk about that. Account. Now, the account page is basically where you would find all of your account information. Mine, because I'm on a trial account, it's not going to give me everything, but account is going to give me how many sales orders I've created, what's my billing address, what's my actual like company billing address, what's my like everything. It also has a section of how to speak to your customer success manager, which share with you in just 1 minute. And then the last but not the least, which is the team page, which is where you would add your members. If you want to be able to approve purchase orders, your purchase orders, again, that's a advanced add-on if you guys want it. But yeah, you can do that. Personal, okay, I've spoken about everything. Phil, anything?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just answering
It's okay,
some
no
questions
worries.
in the chat there. But this is actually relevant for a couple people. Somebody had asked, where is it? Oh, Jennifer had asked any notifications via text being possible in the future. And then also, where is it? Justin had asked any chance of integrating Service Titan. So these are actually both things that, while we don't have them natively in inFlow, we do have an integration with Zapier or Zapier, however you pronounce it. And that is like a thing where you can connect inFlow to a whole bunch of different apps. Service Titan is actually one of them. We've been kind of fooling around with it there. Before, our Zapier integration was fairly limited, but in the next couple of weeks, we're having a big update that will let you push pretty much any information from inFlow to any of these other apps. So you can set up something to send you texts, or again, you can set up stuff to either pull or push information from like Service Titan. So that's something very cool. I think then also Matthew had asked if there was how granular can you get with sub locations? Can you set up locations with a warehouse aisle and shelf locations if you have stock in each of those locations?
So, okay, yeah, I can absolutely show you guys about that. You can get granular with one, no plurals, only one gran you can get with that. Basically, so you can do aisles and stuff. So let's say you have your products. If you want to add a sub location to it, you can. So how the way we recommend you guys doing it is like having like nomenclature of how you want to do it. It's like and keep that consistent across all of your products. So let's say you do aisle dash row dash. Okay, so like aisle dash row dash or whatever, whatever you guys have, but keep this nomenclature. So for anytime you want to go into that granular level stuff, you can just put in the aisle number here and the row number here, or the whatever desk, whatever you guys have there. And you can continue your sublocation expansion in that same line, but you only get one sublocation space. So like just like you can't do sublocations, what I'm trying to get to. And then let's say if other two of these products are again the same nomenclature, aisle 3 row D, then that's how you would do it. Okay. Would there be an update to include sub locations? Again, could do a product feedback about it. Can't guarantee it at the moment because I'm not sure how that would work with the actual like developer side of things, but it can absolutely do a shout out for product feedback. Yeah,
Yeah,
100, yeah.
I think. Sorry, I was just gonna say. I think one other thing, depending on how your inventory is set up too, you could also like using your location itself as like one part of the sublocation, and then just using the sublocation location like as a sub. Otherwise, the only other thing, like lot numbers are going to be coming out in the future. This is something that we're actively working on. It is a very large project, so it is going to take some time. So don't expect it like a month or two or anything like that. It'll be longer than that, but that is also something else we're working on, both lot number and expiry tracking. So that is coming in the near future. So
Yeah, really exciting stuff coming up. It's just a little bit of patience. Okay. I am now, guys, if you guys have any questions, please reach out to your CSM or the support team because again, as I mentioned, we are running out of time. So I am actually going to take us to a very quick little tidbit section that we have right next to our demo. Um, how do you ask for help and who do you ask for help from? So we do have, again, as I've been saying, we have amazing resources available. Please, for this, the first step, I would highly recommend you to take a look at the Learning Center, take a look at the YouTube videos, take a look at the Ask the Inflow Expert videos that we have. So again, this is our Inflow inventory, which is our YouTube page. We have different playlists set up for everything. This is the Ask the Info Experts. Basically, people like Phil, Kiri, Justin, I feel, is one of them. Laya actually is one of them. Like all of these amazing people have created these short form videos. If you have where they've actually spoken about specific topics or like how to do inflow stock counts or like changing how to change your product types, tariffs, whatever, just yeah, take a look at that. We have again amazing information on that as well. We have our previous webinars here as well, so oops, again a playlist of, again, that's me before I got my hair colored. But just again a list of all of the different webinars that we have. But yeah, that's a little bit on our YouTube page. Again, even if you go on our, like, any page that you go on, if you guys scroll, you have our webinars will help you. Then you have the webinars right here. So again, you can get access to all of that. And then if you need more information, if you go to your account page and if you want to book, let's say, something with your CSM, or if you just want to know who to speak to, if you go to your account page again, you can first of all visit the Learning Center because you'll get faster information there. Um, but then it'll ask you questions like, what do you need assistance with? Subscription changes or any account changes, you come to your CSM. Any troubleshooting questions like my QuickBooks is going janky, do not go to your CSM, please. No, I'm just kidding. But feel free to reach out to support first for that because they are better with troubleshooting, whereas we are better with like your macro level of like your workflow things and your training and your actual onboarding of stuff and like bird's eye view of your account and just want to change anything in your account or workflow, etc., come to your CSM. Troubleshooting questions like how do I not even how do I do this, but like why is my number in my report so and so not coming up? Again, try to investigate a little bit there yourself because you guys know your database more than we know it. We are coming into it with a blank mind, so we'll have to relearn everything you've already done. But then if you of course, having said that, if you need more information about how to do everything, reach out to the support team as well. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out with us for an hour and 23 minutes. I really, again, appreciate all of you guys for being here, for being customers, for talking to us, just like everything. But yeah, that's everything for me. That's a wrap from my end. Phil, anything that I want to add?
Yeah, just like I kind of always say, like, thank you everyone for coming. And again, have issues and stuff like that. You now have the tools that you need to help fix or find any answers or things like that. But you can always reach us at support@inflowinventory.com. And again, we love hearing your feedback and stuff as well too. So for sure, send that in. And yeah, we appreciate you all sticking with us. I know we had some technical difficulties, and everyone give an extra round of applause for Pooja because she was essentially only supposed to do half of that, but Laya unfortunately could not get her computer working well enough to come in here, and I think she killed it. So good
Thank you
job.
so much.
And
Okay.
yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a good rest of your day. See you. Bye.